FPSL Division 2 Round 5 Brazilian Grand Prix. Do excuse me, I need to add somebody. Worry Cloud didn't say that he was racing today and is now expecting me to invite him, so I will do that. There we are. Right then, as I said, welcome to the Brazilian Grand Prix in the FPSL Division 2. We are pretty much good to go. I'm going to let the grid know that they should ready up as and when Worried Cloud joins, that is. Cool, he's in. Right then, so we should hopefully see these squares on the right here start going green, and we'll get into the session so we can begin this round. Or round 6, sorry, I believe the stream says round 5. It should say round 6 at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Or round... Oh, is it? Is it round 6? I might have gotten this completely wrong. It may actually be round 7. I'm not sure. Round something, or at the Brazilian Grand Prix for FPSL Division 2. I am on my own today. I would usually have Vapor Trench, FPSL's owner, and of course 33%, 1/3 Team Vapor owner, but I do not. Apologies, I'm just checking my mic isn't muted. It isn't. So as we load into qualifying here in Brazil, I will let you know where we're at in the championship. At this point in time, of course, first and second are still held by Carson and Bando Biz, neither of which are in Division 2 anymore. They were a little bit too fast, so we put them up into Div 1 halfway through the season. So the championship leader in terms of those who are left is Kieran. Meh Kieran there is P11 on the timing screen as I quickly get up some of these important details that we will need through the session. There we are. And we will, for the time being, wait for somebody to leave the pits. As we have a comment, but I can't see because I haven't got YouTube open anywhere. So wherever the comment is, apologies, I won't be able to respond to you. Right, so as I said, I will run... Well, Mayor Kieran is number 1 in the championship out of those who are left. Still yet to get a victory. His best finish so far this season is P3. He's had that a couple times, a couple of P3s, and he will be the first man to set a lap here, as we are currently on for that awful TV pod angle that is a little bit zoomed in, and hopefully that will change to broadcast any moment now. I'm not sure why it hasn't. There it has. Well, it looks a bit crap, but he will be the first person to set a lap, hoping to go on to pole for, I believe, the first time this season and give himself as good an opportunity as he can to defend his championship lead. Last week's race winner is FRL Evan. He is, I believe, actually a net P2 in the championship. Considering he's only been here for 3 rounds, that's pretty good. He won last time out, I believe, in Bahrain short. Oh, no, Mayor Kieran doesn't want to go first. It will be Lewis 05, a reserve driver, stepping in for one of the Red Bull drivers this week. I actually do not know who they are off the top of my head. But he is a reserve. He will be the first to set a lap, as I just mentioned, and we will have to see how he does. In the Red Bull, of course, Max Verstappen, in the real-life Red Bull, the last winner at the Brazilian Grand Prix at the 2019 event. which is the first Honda-powered victory around the circuit, or what is it, Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache here in Brazil, since Ayrton Senna in 1991 with McLaren, when they used to be powered by Honda. So Lewis and Colin, of course, who is a consistent good finisher in terms of in the points, usually the lower end because he just keeps his nose clean. But they'll be looking to emulate that result if they can for Red Bull. Of course, as I said, Lewis is a reserve driver, so he will gain points for the reserve team, not the Red Bull team. But if he takes a full-time seat, any points he earns from that point on will be for that team. So coming to finish the second sector, currently about 50 seconds, 50.6 you saw there in the top right through the first two sectors. Out the final corner, he's going to get a lovely tow from the Ferrari there as he comes towards the line. He'll open the DRS now. There we go, the wing opens, hugging the inside to the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 6.9, a quality lap there from Lewis. And it could be on for pole position. A great lap there from Lewis. I didn't get as excited as I probably should have. Kieran goes P2, 4/10 off the pace. So immediately a great benchmark there from the Red Bull. And the AlphaTauri not quite able to match it. AlphaTauri, of course, got P3. Well, no, sorry, P2 with Pierre Gasly. It was his best result or best finish at that point in his career. Of course, he won the Italian Grand Prix more recently. Right, let's go to... Oh, for some reason this is not working here. There we go. I want a racing point. One of them is about to cross the line. It will be Scarlett Witch, also a reserve driver, who pulls into the pits. Who else is on the lap? What about Warrior Cloud? Warrior Cloud now, he will be the next to cross the line. Mimula 1 on the medium tyre just went P8, the slowest of the lot so far. Warrior Cloud to the line. Not quite hugging the inside as we'd expect drivers to, just to get the shortest run. Doesn't hug the inside there either. So it'll be a 1 minute 8.3. Puts him P8 ahead of Mimula 1 on the hards, but not a particularly great lap there from Cloud, and as he invalidates what will be his in-lap. Let's go to Colin in Sector 2 here. Oh no, let's not. Let's go to Sankaya Dead, who's going to shoot himself up to P7, 9/10 off of that time that was just set by Lewis, the reserve there. Right, we'll go back to Colin on the mediums. Colin, we usually tend to see he puts quite a bit of fuel in. He does a good few laps on the mediums just to try and get a good time in. Usually starts towards the back. A point that we constantly raise, myself and Vapor Trench, over the course of this season, is we would like to see him at some point put the hards on and try and get as far up the grid as he can. He just likes to pull the alternate strategy as and where he can. So he goes P12, there you go, slowest of the lot, but as I said, probably has quite a bit of fuel in that Red Bull and is going to set a few more laps yet. This Warrior Pad is going to pull into the pit lane here. We have Red, who has just set a lap time, and it doesn't look like he's going to be trying to set another one. I think he'll be on his way in as well, as he does pull into the pits. So we'll switch on to Slanky Dead, who has invalidated and is also probably on his way into the pits. That is Connor going slowly, and he's invalidated that lap there. So potentially saving some ERS and some fuel to go again for another attempt. He is going very slowly. He's got Colin just around the corner there. May have just seen him in the background as he comes down the hill towards the final corner, does Colin. But Connor comes towards line. It has been invalidated, but he's going to go again by the looks of it. He is. So we'll go on board with Colin for this lap. Sorry, Connor. Connor in the Williams for this lap. Not a bad finisher. Connor, usually, he's not impartial to an incident, though, unfortunately. He often, well, I say often, sometimes gets his nose a little bit dirty. But he'll be hoping for better luck this time out. 16 seconds through the first sector as he comes down the hill up towards the double right-hander of, I believe, turn 6. You would have seen me go around the outside of one of the Mercedes yesterday, Division 1, if you watched that stream. Down towards the heavy braking zone there. Usually around about second or third gear. Second or third for this one as well. Up towards the hill to the last heavy braking zone, proper heavy braking zone of the lap. The hairpin there, and he'll come down the hill now through the left, which is usually flat. He won't really want to lift through here as long as he gets his line right. and into the final corner, taking that esports line that we know. And up the hill he goes towards the line. What's it going to be for Connie? He's going flat to the line now, waiting for the DRS to activate. And to the line, not quite hugging the inside, but he does go with a 1 minute 7.6, puts him up to P5, 6/10 off of that benchmark set by Lewis 05, who looks as though he's on another lap. He is, as he comes down towards turn 4. Clips the apex nicely and uses as much of the curb as he can, up towards turn 6. Down a couple of gears. You would have heard the couple shifts down there, I believe, hopefully, at least. So if I've got my audio settings right, that is. Lovely, lovely job. But before him, we are going to see Vicensky in the Alfa Romeo. So we'll go on board with him as he comes down the hill. Purple through the second sector, allegedly. We'll have to wait and see there. But up the hill comes Vicensky. Again, somebody who has some decent pace here in Division 2. Often finds himself getting a little bit unlucky, though, during the race. He's run out of ERS, it looks, as he finishes the lap, a 1 minute 8.4. And now we have had everyone set a lap, as Lewis goes even faster with a 1 minute 6.7. A fantastic lap. I don't know how that equates to the pole time for Division 1 yesterday, but I reckon it was probably quicker than I did. So a fantastic lap there from the Red Bull. The Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache is the circuit that we're racing here in Brazil. I have mentioned that already. As up to the line, it looks like comes Evan. 1 minute 6.9 puts him on the front row, 2/10 off of the Red Bull. Another good lap from the Alfa Romeo there, as he'll be looking to build on his victory from Bahrain short just a week ago. It is, and well, he'll be pushing to catch Kieran, who he's just deplaced from the front row. As we now have Buttons back on his flyer. Buttons back has been well, solid in terms of results so far this season. Was in Division 1 last season and got relegated for this season, but he has looked very strong in Division 2 so far. Teammates with his brother Sanky Aded in the Mercedes as he comes through Sector 2. As we look over the suspension there of the front right into the braking zone. Does well, controls the back end as well. We do get some quite twitchy back ends in some of the traction zones here around Brazil. As he goes up the hill, the Racing Point gets out the way, but it might have been a little bit too late. He could have been helped up quite a bit there. Does Buttons back. We'll have to wait and see how he does as he crosses the line. No, he's going to pull in, so he clearly feels his lap was ruined. We're going on board with Kieran now, and he may actually get a tow from the Alfa Romeo of Vicensky. He's up 0.5, and that Alfa Romeo, as I said, is going to give him a brilliant tow. This could be quite an improvement through the final sector for the Alfa Tauri. On board he goes as the Alfa Romeo does pull into the pits, but it's going to be a 1 minute 7.3, improves by 0.5. Isn't enough to push him back onto the front row and dislodge FO11 in the Alfa Romeo, but third place is still very, very good. As Mimula 1 actually just went P4. I missed that completely. So apologies to Mimula 1 for missing that. As we have red in the Racing Point. The red in the pink Racing Point. Coming down the hill just behind him. Sanky Aded, who is also on a lap. And we'll see how they both do as they cross the line. So up the hill comes the Racing Point. Foot to the floor, full pace. To the line, and he'll be hoping to improve on his P11 so far. He does up to P9. Here comes Sanky Aded. It doesn't look like the Mercedes improved too much. Let's now have Scarlet Witch, the other reserve debutant. New to the FPSL League today, in fact. She's going to just beat the Mercedes out of the pit lane as she heads down towards turn 4. Usually a fourth gear corner there, depends what you're comfortable with. As she heads up the hill towards turn 6. I don't know the name of turn 6. Rob and Matt did yesterday. I noticed, but into Sector 2. Very tricky Sector 2, as I mentioned a few moments ago, with some of the traction zones and difficult parts to really put your foot down on. Particularly the exit of that corner we've just seen there can really get a bit of a squirm. And this one, as we watch, very reserved on the throttle there from Scarlet Witch, but she'll be hoping for a good final sector. She's up 3/10, which is a great improvement so far. If she gets the final sector all hooked up, not much to really gain or lose. It really does depend on your line. It's just foot to the floor here. She stays P13, losing a little bit of time in that final sector, probably because of her exit from the final corner. Wojciechowski now on a lap behind the Ferrari of Brent, who will also be looking to improve. So we'll go on board with Brent firstly. There's Wojciechowski in the background through the final corner, the number 69 Ferrari. And up towards the line, we'll see him fly past here. Lovely little camera angle there as he comes towards the line, hugging the inside of this final part here, hugging the inside as he heads to the line. Brent goes to, well, remains, oh, goes up to P7, sorry, as we now have Swanee 2K15 joining the lobby. And Tricky goes to P7. Oh no, he doesn't, he's already there, he's just been pushed down by someone, and I'm not sure who. Ah, that'll be Connor. Connor's just finished a lap, which I missed, and he's put himself into P3, so bumps Kieran down to the end of the second row. Connor with a decent qualifying. He tends to do well in qualifying, does Connor. He has a decent track record in qualifying. Got very unlucky in Bahrain short, of course, with some contacts, and wasn't able to capitalise and put it into a good race finish. As Wojciechowski remains in P14 after his lap. Alright, who's next? It will be Wojciechowski. He will be next. We'll go to him if my spectator menu wants to work. There we are. As he comes towards the line, 3/10 up so far. Pedal to the metal, pedal to the floor, foot to the floor, whatever phrase you want to use. A 1:7.9 puts him P12, and he'll be looking to cut into the points during the race, as he so often does. Often somebody to start outside the points in qualifying, but also find his way into the points come race day. He wasn't quite able to do that in Bahrain short. He finished P11, one lap down, and so no points there for him then, but he had to make 2 stops when many opted for the 1 stop. Potentially due to damage, of course. Buttons back went P3, and I missed that, so apologies to Buttons back. He pushed Connor down, and Kieran, of course, down once more as well. We have a Haas coming to the line. I believe the only Haas there is Morris Minor, who's about to set a lap, so we'll go on board with him as he comes down towards turn 1. Important to set up your exit through turn 2 there. Lucky not to invalidate the lap there, I feel. Very, very... Oh, well, a lot of the car over the curb. Not sure on the weather we were expecting for race day, or the race in a few minutes' time, as we only have a couple minutes left of qualifying here. We should be expecting everyone out for their final laps. Actually, I've just realised that Evan is on the lap, so apologies, Morris Minor. This is a... Oh, no, he's not on a lap. He's backed off completely. What about Kieran? Kieran is on his way up to the line. He's improving by not quite a 10th yet, but hopefully it will be a 10th by the time he crosses that line. It is 2 tenths, and he goes into P4, so jumps back ahead of Connor. We'll go back to Morris Minor as he comes towards the line. He'll remain P14 for the Haasman. The Ferrari of Warrior Cloud just crossed the line and went P7 there. This will be Evan crossing the line to start his final lap. We've also had a racing point just cross the line there as well of Scarlet Witch to start a lap. Now a little bit of traffic on the exit of the pits here. He gets a little bit of a tow, does Evan. A great use to maybe gain himself a 10th or 2. He's up by just under a 10th. He needs to gain 2.5 if he wants to go on to pole. Just about managing to skirt around the outside of Warrior Cloud there. And we are actually going to see Lewis cross the line first. Is it going to be an improvement for the Red Bull as he comes to the line? It's not. So he's going to go again by the looks of it. Oh no, it was his out lap. Kieran is out of the session as he retires in the pits. He doesn't feel he can get much more out of this qualifying than P4. Oh, and that's Evan off. I just missed that. Evan off the circuit. He made a mistake on the exit. Another one of those tricky traction zones if you get a little bit too far over the curve, and that's his qualifying done. As we go back now to Lewis, who's coming up the hill towards turn 6. His pole position, I'd like to say, is now safe. But we'll just see what sort of a lap he can complete to end qualifying here. 13 seconds left on the clock for us, of course. That could well be a little bit more for the drivers. We tend to, at least in Division 2, have a little bit of desync with the session timers. Up by just under half a tenth. And it does look like it is going to be an improvement for the Red Bull so far. A little bit squirmy on the exit, you may have just seen. As Warrior Cloud also retires in the pit lane. He feels he's done in P7. And he does go faster, 1 minute 6.6 for the Red Bull. An absolutely stellar qualifying, and what a way to announce yourself into FPSL Division 2. I'll be hoping for an absolutely fantastic drive from the Red Bull to really put his foot down and make an impact in Division 2 here. Still very close down the rest of the field. Last week we saw some incredibly close qualifying. Brent has invalidated his lap. Swanee, who, no matter his lap, I believe, based off the late joining qualifying glitch that Codemasters are still yet to fix, as far as I'm concerned. He'll probably be starting from the back anyways. He joined to qualify halfway through, but for Pride, he would have started P12. Which is good to know for Swanee, I guess. I believe the only person left to set a lap here is Connor. He's coming up the hill. He's down 6 seconds though, so that will be it for qualifying. It will be the Red Bull of Lewis 05 on pole with a 1 minute 6.6. He'll be joined on the front row by FRL Evan as Connor crashes across the line, just to give us something interesting to look at there. Very nice of him. Thank you very much for that, Connor. Buttons back will start P3 in the Mercedes. Another good qualifying for him as he looks to, well, climb up the table at this point. He's currently P10, or 10th in the table, should I say. He's had a few unlucky races, a couple DNFs. He DNF'd in, what's it called? Sorry, I'm forgetting the name. Zandvoort, the Dutch Grand Prix, and of course Azerbaijan a couple races ago. Did not manage to finish those. As we wait for the race to start, so as I said, it's Lewis on pole, the Scotsman, followed by Evan, buttons back, Kieran, Connor, Mimula 1 in 6th, Warrior Cloud in the first Ferrari in 7th, Tricky, Brent and Vicensky makes the top 10. Everyone outside the top 10 can of course start on a tyre of their choice. I'm hoping we don't have any tech difficulties as we saw in Division 1, Bahrain last week, because well, I'll have to go and set everything up again, and because this is my first time hosting, I was not particularly quick. As we now wait for the race to start. A little bit of Brazilian Grand Prix facts for you. I had some written down just that it would be a little bit more interesting while I'm on my own. The circuit distance here over one lap is 4.3 kilometres. Not that that really has much relevance, it's just a nice little fact to know. They've used the same layout in Formula 1 of the Autodromo José Carlos Pache since 1990, after it was revamped, so to speak, because the version before, it was older, longer, much more dangerous, was removed from the F1 calendar at the end of the 1970s. Michael Schumacher is the most successful driver at the Brazilian Grand Prix, has 4 wins. He's, well, the joint most successful driver in terms of world titles ever, isn't he? So good to see Schumi, of course, at the top of the list here. His most famous team, Ferrari, are the most successful team at the Brazilian Grand Prix. I need to set these back up again. Oh, lap data. Do we need that? I don't know. As we get going for the formation lap, and Lewis will get us going. An opportunity for tyres to make sure all their tyres, brakes and gears are at the optimum temperature to get as good a launch off the line as they can. That's what all the weaving you're seeing is for, just to make sure those soft tyres that most have opted for are up to temperature. Very interesting though, I will point out, down at the back we have Maurice Minor and Colin, both starting on the hard tyre. An interesting choice. The hard tyre is awful around the Brazilian Grand Prix. The bog standard strategy that it doesn't actually let you change on the strategy screen at the start of the race is the soft hard, but if you go to about lap 15 on the softs, you can go to the end on the mediums. The mediums at the end of the race will be awful though, if your tyre management is shocking as mine is. I really struggled at the end of that stint. As we come through the second sector now, everyone's snaking through as they're looking to make their way back to the grid. Many famous moments and championship deciders at the Brazilian Grand Prix over the years. We've got, of course, the famous "Is That Glock" moment from 2008 when Lewis Hamilton passed Timo Glock through the last corner to take the vital position to win the championship ahead of Felipe Massa that season. Felipe Massa, of course, won the race. He did everything he could, but it was that last corner that Hamilton made the pass on the Honda car, I believe, of Timo Glock, and he won the race. And the championship. Of course, there's Vettel in 2012. It was his third straight world championship that he won, but it didn't come without struggle in that race. You know, a contact on lap 1, and it's fight all the way back to win the championship. Here we go to 5 red lights. The cars are ready to get underway. A little bit out of time there for me, at least. And there we go. Away we go. Lots of smoke kicking up there and a lot of wheel spin for Lewis, but for the most part it looks like he's gotten away okay. Evan is down his inside though, but he pulls ahead. He backs out, does the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo and the Mercedes, of Buttons back and Evan going side by side as they head down towards turn 4. So far avoiding any accidents have Division 2, as out wide goes Colin. That's Colin going very wide there, making contact with the Ferrari, and more contact. Oh, and that's cars out of the race. That's Mimi, the one out of the race. Connor again involved in an incident. McLaren out of the race of well of Tricky. That's what a bit of action there for you, Division 2 fans. On lap 1 we've lost Mimula 1 and Tricky, and Connor is all the way down at the back of the grid. So it was contact between Connor and one of the Ferraris of, I believe, Warwick Cloud, coming through turn 4. He was pushed out onto the AstroTurf and the tarmac on the outside before hitting the inside there and rejoining the track. He made contact with Mimula 1, forced the Renault into the wall through, I don't believe, any fault of his own really. I think it was more the weird contact physics of Codemaster's game, and that put the Renault into the wall, lost a tyre, and of course then Connor came careering back across the track and in the process took out or collided with the McLaren of Tricky. So a very, very entertaining, I guess, start to the Brazilian Grand Prix. I feel like I should have been more excited about that, except the fact that I live in a student house and I want to be a little bit more respectful to my studying flatmates and housemates. Otherwise I would have been a little bit more excited, because that was a hell of a crash there. As we are now under safety car conditions, we have had one person stop. It is red in the Racing Point. Maybe some wing damage for him as he exits the pits. He goes onto the softs. I'm not sure what he did start on, but he'll go onto the softs and look to take them, I guess, as far as he can, to maybe go onto the hards or mediums later on in the race, because of course he will not be taking those to the end. As behind the safety car now is the Red Bull of Lewis. It was a great getaway for Lewis. A little bit overshadowed by the contact further back, but it was a great getaway. He, of course, was around the outside of Evan into turn 1 because the Alfa Romeo got a bit of a better launch than the Red Bull, who suffered some real spin off the line. But then, of course, it looked to me, at least, as if Evan had backed out before they went into turn 2, and Lewis was able to maintain his position, and it actually put Evan on the back foot, and Butters back went on the attack. Though, of course, it appears that the front 4 at least, have all maintained their positions from the start. No changes up front, but further down we've had quite a few. we have, of course, Swanee up 5 places into P7. He started, I believe, P12. Colin up 4 as well from the back of the grid. So a great start again from Colin there, and he'll be looking to gain more positions as the race goes on, keeping his nose clean. But my lord, what a crash that was. I wish we were as cool as the F1 Virtual Grand Prix Series. They had a replay of a race start when they did the Brazilian Grand Prix to check out how great George Russell did after the contact at turn 1 there. We don't quite have the tech to bring you replays here at the FPSL, but we'll see. Division 2 has been a bit of a topsy-turvy division this season, of course, because to start with we had some incredibly... Oh, shit. Ah, feck. Ah, no, I'm still broadcasting. Apologies, so those of you who are seeing my broadcast, I have just lagged out there, and I'll attempt to reconnect. Goodness me. I don't actually know how to stop the broadcast momentarily, so this is going to continue while I sort out my Wi-Fi, and you can all see the Wi-Fi that I